Well, hello again, Internet. It's time for another bad movie review. Today, we're going to talk about vampires versus zombies. Don't get used to that title because it doesn't make a lot of sense. This movie's loosely based, and I mean loosely based, on Carmilla by J. Sheridan LaFanu, something like that. It's an old tale from the Gothic period about a lesbian vampire. It's more implied in that movie, or in the book, rather. In this movie, I think they just based it on the name, because it makes no damn sense. This movie was a zombie apocalypse with smoke breaks. We saw like 5 zombies through most of the movie, and they all looked really, really silly. We did see a couple vampires, but yeah, it didn't make any sense. I'm going to cut right to the chase. This movie made 0 sense over the long term. Like, parts of it kind of started to make sense, and then they'd totally make a left turn. Like, this movie's making too much sense. Let's make it ridiculous. Let's make this have no sense whatsoever. I mean, the acting wasn't the problem. The acting overall was pretty mediocre. There were some breakout points. Brinke Stevens was great. She always is. Solid B-movie actress who should have been in A movies. It was nice seeing her in some sort of cosplay version of the Dark Horse comic book character Ghost, because that's kind of the costume she was wearing. And I'll admit it, had a little effect, but it didn't save the movie. Brinke Stevens couldn't save this movie. She was barely in it. Her entire character had no backstory, no development, and made no damn sense. And it's not her fault. It's the fault of the writers. Bonny Giroux was actually pretty good as Jenna Fontaine, one of the main characters. And Maritama Carlson as Carmilla, she was fine. She was, they're both very good looking ladies, and they seem to be solid B-movie actresses that could have potential to be in better movies. This was not the role they should have been in. This is not the movie they should have been in. Most of the acting was overall pretty mediocre, like I said. But those 3 people, the 3 ladies, stood out pretty well. Everybody else, there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, and they did okay. It just wasn't... It wasn't awful by the standards of somebody who's seen a whole lot of really bad movies. But it wasn't great, and it wasn't anything that was beyond B-movie fare. Technically, the effects were okay for a B movie, as far as like the blood effects. The zombie makeup was horrible. From a distance, some of them looked like they were wearing blackface, like they were fighting a minstrel show off or something. Like, all of a sudden, a bunch of jazz hands were gonna come up, and Al Jolson was gonna come back from the dead to eat their flesh. That really kind of bothered me, because the first zombie they showed, where they just randomly run him over before we know we're in a zombie apocalypse, it looked like the guy was in blackface from a distance. It was a little disturbing. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I thought the zombies looked really, really stupid. Really poorly done. The makeup effects were really terrible. I could tell they were trying, but there weren't enough close-ups of the zombies to really make it worthwhile overall, because some of the zombies later on just look like well, we're running out of makeup, just throw like a black eye around her, but that's good enough. Drool a lot and look listless. No, it was lazy. The effects were as special as a slow kid that wears a helmet. The pacing was slow too, which didn't help because of the makeup effects. Like, when you see the zombies walking around, you start to really notice how bad the makeup is, because you have time to stare at them while they show them walking listlessly through like 3 different camera angles. And this is an Asylum film. Asylum has such a hit and miss record anyway. This did not help them. Although there were 2 sets of boobs from Bonny Giroux and Maritama Carlson. That was nice. I like that. I like their boobs. They had nice boobs. Compliments to the ladies on that. But that couldn't save the movie. Didn't really help. didn't move the plot along at all because there's no damn plot. The whole thing makes no sense. The first 15 minutes were fine. I could get behind that. It seemed to be doing something. And then they start doing these weird cutscenes and, nobody seems to care that there's a zombie apocalypse going on. The news reporters are all reporting it like it's the 1950s and nobody knows what a zombie is or a zombie apocalypse. Well, hey, guess what? We've all been watching movies for the past 30 years. We all know what a damn zombie is. Just say, hey, it looks like there's zombies. Not, oh, there's people with cannibal issues and, there's a virus going around. No, okay, there's going to be the DJs on the radio saying, yeah, it looks like there's a zombie apocalypse. There's people eating each other out there. But you couldn't really tell for a while who's a zombie and who is a vampire because they don't really define what the infection is until you see some fangs. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish here. And the doctor, apparently maybe she's a mental patient and hallucinating all this. And her doctor looks like some second-rate Herbert West reanimator injecting her with green serum. What did that? They don't even explain that. They just say, oh, it's some herbal medicine. Like there was going to be some kind of subplot there, and they kind of lost their narrative somewhere along the line, or maybe they were running out of money, or the actors quit, or something like that. Maybe they realized they were in a giant turd of a film. I don't know. There was no cohesive storyline, and I don't know what they were trying to accomplish. And if you've read any reviews on this, other than my awesome review, I would say that you're going to likely see comments about the last scene not making any sense with the movie. And they're 100% right. The entire scene at the hotel room makes zero sense. Same problem in a movie called Pieces. I think that was an Italian horror film. All of a sudden, zombies just show up out of nowhere. Magically, they just magically appear in the room. And yeah, it doesn't fit with anything in the movie at all. Nothing. It makes no sense. There was no build up to this. There was no clear resolution as to what that scene meant. But that's the problem with 3/4 of the movie. It jumps between three differing storylines. Is she mentally unstable, hallucinating these things, or is she actually experiencing them, or is there the third possibility that it's a combination of the two? We don't know. It's not explained. The director decided to keep that little secret for themselves. This movie needed more Brinke Stevens and more plot because it makes zero sense. I wanted to like this movie. There's no actual war between vampires and zombies, which could have been cool. Could have had a real underworld thing going where, some vampires are cleaning house to protect their human chattel from the infection or something. I'd watch that movie. That sounds awesome. This was not that movie. The original title of this was Carmilla, the Lesbian Vampire, or something along those lines. But it has nothing to do with the book either. That short novel, or novella if you're an English major, I don't want to get corrections, really was more of a intellectual storyline. This had minor elements of that. Like you thought it was going to go in that direction, and then it totally takes a left turn into Stupid Town and stays there and becomes a resident. Because the fact that nobody seemed to be really in a big rush to deal with escape the zombies or deal with the zombies, because there's only 5 of them for most of the movie. I'm flustered because I'm angry because I paid money for this on DVD, and the only thing worth watching in this were the boob scenes and Brinke Stevens, because Brinke Stevens is a solid actress and I respect her and I like her movies, but this was just such a miss for me. I can't recommend this one. I don't think it was worthwhile. If you're a completionist like I am and you want it for your collection of Brinke Stevens movies, get it then. And if you want to see Bonny Giroux or Maritama Carlson in something, just hope they do something else and watch that, because it's probably going to be better than this. This movie made no sense at all. I can't recommend it. And that's going to wrap it up here, because now I'm angry and I think I need to go have a lie down or something. So that'll complete this bad movie review, and be sure and check out the next ones we do and the previous ones if you haven't already seen them. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.